Good morning guys, it's Aphrodite's child here, and in today's video I am going to show you the Greek mythology reading cards, and it's by Alison Chester Lambert and the illustration is by Richard Crooks. Now I have had this deck since I discovered Wicca, which was back in, not that I'm Wiccan now, which was back in 2018, 19. I wasn't Wiccan for very long because a few months into me being Wicca, I ended up discovering Hermeticism on March the 10th, 2019. So this was my first ever Greek deck, which I am so happy I chose this one, because it was either this one or it was the Gem Oracle deck, I think it was called, but I ended up going with this one instead, which is my go-to Greek deck. I also do have the Mythic Oracle deck, which I will show in the next video. But this deck, I am quite connected to. It has been accurate for me. I remember one reading that I got that it said a birthday celebration was coming up. So expect, you getting gifts or giving gifts to someone. And it was just so happens that reading, my birthday was in, was it on the day of my birthday, or was it... I think it was the day before my birthday when I got that card reading, when it said that a birthday's coming up, and it actually was, because I think my birthday was the day after. So it is quite an accurate reading. I do know some of these cards as well, and without having to go into the guidebook, because I was constantly using them, so I became familiar with them, was able to do like my own intuition on the deck. But usually when I get new cards, I always use the guidebook, and even sometimes I still do. I still go through the guidebook, and some cards I do try to do my own intuition. But yeah, they are fairly accurate, I will say. They've never really done me wrong. It was my first Greek deck. And, there was also another reading, that said that I had from a deity that I was working with, saying, expect like abundance, abundance was coming. And I remember a staff came and knocked on my door, and my old manager at the time, he gave us £50, a Christmas present to all staff. So that's how accurate these cards are. It's like the deities knew that who I was working with. It was last year. The deities knew that, abundance was coming, because I asked them, for a message, and abundance card came up. And there was like, accept abundance, abundance is coming your way. And a member of staff came knocking on the door the very same night and said, manager is giving us this Christmas money. It's given all staff. So yeah, that's how accurate they are. I remember that one. That's how accurate. That's how accurate they are. So, further ado, let's take a look through the cards. As you can see, it's the guidebook here. I'll take you through this first. So there is, it's a 50 colour cards, and it's 112 page booklet. And it says, the mythology of ancient Greece gave the people their history, moral principles, laws, and their spiritual support. All aspects of human nature and experiences had accompanying gods and goddesses that could be referred to or learned from. And this is the guidebook. As you can see, it's quite a long introduction. And I think it's actually these oracle cards that are initially the closest to how the ancient Greeks practiced divination. I think it is these. These came out in in 2018, so I just bought these when they'd first come out. But I'm so happy I bought them. I mean, I do love this style of artwork. And you know, I'm so happy when I see like pictures of the Greek gods with this sort of artwork, because, you know, it just feels homely to me. You know, I just really love this style of artwork. So let's go through the cards. So this is the back of the cards. This is what the cards look like. They are really easy to shuffle. I mean, I do prefer matte cards. Obviously, it is good cardstock. They are quite easy to shuffle. I do prefer matte cards. You know, I'm not really keen on the glossy, but the glossy cards are a lot easier to shuffle than matte cards. I mean, they did stick together when I first bought them. You know, I've had them for a few years now. You know, they did stick together when I first bought them, and they are easy to shuffle with them being gloss, but I do prefer matte cards. But that's the back. It's got the ancient Greek keys round. So let's just take a look at the cards. So the first card we have is the Morai, which is the future. Nike, victory. I do have a statue of Nike actually. It's a really big pink one. Like it's made out of glass. And it's on my altar because one of Aphrodite's epithets is, even though I don't personally use epithets because I just see it all as her, she is known to have the Nike statue with her through her war epithets. Orpheus, music. Eos, storm. Alcmene, sorry if I'm not pronouncing her name right. Unfairness. Trojan horse, trickery. Water nymphs, feelings. I do love the nymphs. They're basically Greek fairies, and I do see them as a UPG, as the daughters of Aphrodite, Hathor, Venus de Milo. I'm a soft polytheist, so I do see Hathor and Venus de Milo as the same as Aphrodite. If you're hard polytheist watching this, and you know, it's all separate. Prometheus, cunning. Chiron, woundedness. Metis, wisdom. Tishi, sorry again if I'm not pronouncing her name right. Fortune. Laetris, faithfulness. Again, I'm really sorry if I'm not pronouncing their names right. I do apologise. Aries, warmongering. Themis, cosmic order. Epimetheus, carelessness. Aegea, good health. Hera, relating. Dionysus, merrymaking. I see him as the same as Bacchus in the Roman. Penelope, reunion. As you can see, the artwork in these cards is just stunning. Typhoeus, fair. The story of this one is that Zeus, I see them as the same as Jupiter in Roman, was the only one that was able to defeat this monster, because all the other deities, they all fled to Egypt, but Zeus was the one that took control of the situation and defeated him. Hephaestus, workmanship. You know, as you know, Hephaestus is the husband to Aphrodite, and is the god of working, for working people. But you could still work with them, if you are currently, not in a job or anything like that. If you're into like creating things, because obviously Hephaestus is the god of workmanship. So he'd be a good one to turn to, if you're like creating something or like starting up a business, to where you're currently not in employment at the moment. So he'd be a good one to turn to if you're interested in working with Hephaestus or wanting to know, which deity is good to, for job-wise, Hephaestus. Pegasus, nature. This is one of my favourite pieces of art with Pegasus on. I actually work with Pegasus as a UPG, and his brother Arion. I don't see them as like deities, but I do show them the same respect as I would do to a deity. Sorry, my little boy just came into my room and handed me his breakfast plate. Aranos, remoteness. Zeus, supremacy. Eris, strife. Hercules, protector. Psyche, doubtfulness. Aphrodite, attraction. I actually have this picture up on my wall. Chrysaea, secrets. Pluton, underworld. Yeah, the ancient Greeks would always refer to Hades as Pluton, if I remember rightly. I mean, I don't personally work with Hades. I see the same as Pluto in Roman. I know that the ancient Greeks used to render his name. They never spoke of his name. So instead of saying the word Hades, they would use I think was it Pluton? Or I could be getting him mixed up with another name, but they would refer to him something to do with money. It may have been Pluton, but they wouldn't say the name Hades. They were afraid of Hades. They never. I mean, Hades now is mostly kind of like an SPG, because he was never getting worked with in ancient times. But there was a name that they used. I think it was Pluton or another name, that they use, but they refer to him as like the deity to do with money. Because obviously the ancient Greeks and the Romans, they were using money. When they invaded Egypt, that's when Egypt got introduced to money, because the ancient Egyptians weren't using money. They were mostly they were doing, trading. They didn't have any money until Greece invaded into Egypt. Then they got introduced to money. But yeah, Hades is more of an SPG. He was never getting worked with in ancient times, was Hades Pluto. So he's more of an SPG, because I know that few people work with him. I personally don't. Is not a deity for me. That I would feel, it wouldn't feel right for me to work with him. I do use the term work for worship because of Christianity. But yeah, he's more of an SPG in modern times, because in ancient times he wasn't getting worked with at all. So he's more of an SPG, I would say. But yeah, he's not one for me. Alright, time. Speaking of time, actually, I actually had a dream last night that I was able to turn the time back to 1911, 1912, the Titanic era. And, I saw, all the officers, Moody and everyone. And, it was just a shame that when I woke up from it, that it was just a dream, that I went back in that time again. Persephone, on the Titanic. It's quite upsetting dreams, when you generally want to go back to a time so bad. And you turn out that it's, not true, and, just a dream that you're not exactly back there. It's crap, really. So you've got Persephone, transformation. Athena, protectress. Icarus, inexperienced. Now, I will tell you something about Icarus, actually. One of these there, where my thumb was pointing, landed in my hand. Because I saw it as me saving kind of Icarus, from falling. And, I managed to grab him, in my hand, like this angel wing. And I was like, oh, Icarus has landed in my hand. And I put him in my pocket, and then, I was walking up near the castle wall, and I, went for something in my pocket, and he flew out of my hand, to land in my hand for another day. So yeah, I always every time I say, I always try and catch him in my hand. But I do see that as being, Icarus kind of landing in my hand, even though I'm not eclectic, in a sense where I would see them all as energies, but Hestia, inner fire. Scipulus, healing. Poseidon, avarice. Yeah, my area is definitely a Poseidon, Aphrodite, because I live in a seaside destination. It became one of the main tourist attractions in the whole of Yorkshire. It became very, my town is actually quite popular, and it has Titanic connections as well. And it's very, sea deity, nymph, Nereid orientated, really, so nature, because you have a big, massive nature park here as well. Apollo, god of light. He's also the god of the sun if you call him Phoebus Apollo. but you don't really have to use ethics if you don't want to use them. Demeter, mother. Eros, desire. I do work with Eros. I personally see him as a son of Aphrodite, but that's just mainly because I'm a mother myself. So I would go from strongly connect to myths that are mother orientated. Iris. Messages. Another accuracy with the Iris card was that I got a message in these cards that say, you know, good luck in spotting Iris. You know, you can either see like a rainbow in the sky, or you can see her like, you know, when the sun reflects on the glass, you know, see it in a glass. And I ended up, I did actually end up spotting her actually, because I saw her in the reflection of my TV. When the sun shone in the TV, I saw like a rainbow colour appear. So I was actually quite fortunate in finding her. Artemis, goddess of light. Should be also to do with the sun as well, if anyone works with Artemis, if you look into her ethics, you know, because obviously she's the goddess of moon. They did have a statue of Artemis on the Titanic. They had a big version of her on the Olympic, a sister ship, and a smaller one on the Titanic that actually got discovered intact. Because they do have strong Greek connections on the Titanic and also on a sister ship, the Olympic, because they were named after the Greek deities. Titanic was named after Titans, the Olympic was named after the Olympians. Perseus, gifts. Gaia, manifestation. Sharon, transition. Hermes, journey. The Graces, festivities. I do have a statue of the Graces on my altar. I do personally see them as the daughters of Aphrodite, but that's mainly because, you know, you're mother orientated. Plutus, wealth. I think this is the name that the ancient Greeks used, Plutus, to do with money. I'm pretty sure. I will look into it. But I'm pretty sure they used either Pluton or Plutus. It was something to do with money, which may have been this one, because they rendered his name. They'd never used his name at Hades to do with the underworld, and he wasn't getting worked with. But they did use to do with money, I'm pretty sure. The Hydra challenges. And the very last card is Medusa, the feminine. And that's everything, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this card flip through. If you do like this video, please do give it a like. And if you want to hear more from me, do subscribe to my channel. And there is going to be a mythical musing episode tonight. I think it's episode 8 on Pit the Pagan's YouTube channel. We're talking about Greek heroes, and we're also going to be talking about personal heroes. So again, it's going to be also Titanic related as well. So if you are interested in joining the show, it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. EST time and 11:30 p.m. for the UK time. So if you are interested in joining, I will put a link in the description for Pit the Pagan's YouTube channel. And if you are interested in hearing more from me, do subscribe. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this flip through of my first ever Greek mythology reading cards I've had for a while. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye guys, have a great day.